Welcome, everybody, to this week's City Council meeting. If we could all please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If we could have Reverend Russell Bone from Lincoln Park Church of Christ.
I'm filling in for Mr. Bone at Lincoln Park Church of Christ. Let us pray together. Our Father who art in heaven, we're so thankful for this opportunity for this city council to assemble, representing not only its people, but the people representing themselves. Dear God, we know that you've given this forum for the people to speak and the people to be governed, and we pray that as wisdom prevails in all the decisions that are being made, it will have this city grow and be as prosperous as possible. Dear God, the unity of the members here, the unity of the family, and the unity of those who are being represented, we pray, we're just so thankful that you've allowed it to happen. As always, dear God, we pray for those who are in needs in this community and that they will be taken care of. We pray also, dear God, that you will allow the religious portion of this community to continue to step forward and do what it has to do to comfort those in need. As always, dear God, we ask you pray and protect those who are in the police departments and the fire departments and the first responders. As always, dear God, we pray for this council and its strength and its wisdom. And we ask this in your Son's name. Amen.
Amen. Please have a roll call.
Certainly. Councilpersons Bear,
Here.
Dupre. Here. Ross. Here. Salcido.
Here.
Soar.
Here.
Tobin.
Here.
And Mayor Higgins.
Here. We've had a really exciting last 2 weeks, and a real quick rundown. We had the bell ringing for Memorial Day at the museum, which was always special. The parade itself, which was extremely fun and successful. And everybody involved, I'd like to say thank you for being there for both of those events. A big thank you to the Exchange Club who stepped up to do the ceremony after the parade. For the first time in a very long time, we didn't have someone to do it, and they stepped up within just a few days of doing it, and thank you very much. We had a very successful blood drive. I want to thank everybody who was involved with that. The Mother and Son Carnival was at the band shell. Went over really well. And then we had a regular carnival for both last weekend and this weekend, which raised a considerable amount of money, I understand, which will go straight to Parks and Recreation for kids programming. Also, this weekend, we had the Downriver Comic Con, and the good people who put that on, would like to thank everybody who did that, raised a considerable amount of money for the schools, and thank you very much for that. Like to announce that we do have a new restaurant on 4th Street on the north end of town. I'm sorry, I forgot to write down the address, but it's down there, so now would be a good time to drive down and find it. I'm sorry. I forgot to write down. I'm not even sure the name of it is. I was so excited that I seen it that I went in, I checked it out. Good food, by the way, but then I forgot to write down the name. But I didn't want, I promised the lady that I would announce it, that we do have a new restaurant down there, so I did what I promised. I'd like to note that this is the start of National Gun Violence Awareness Month. And it is also 22 years to the day that we had the shooting at the Senior Tower. And I'd just like to take everybody, take a moment to think of all the violence that has gone on with guns that are unnecessary. And lastly, two things coming up, I'd like to remind this coming weekend is garage sale weekend. And the Historical Museum will be joining in on the fun, and they will be having a garage sale, parking lot sale in their parking lot. So come on out. Maybe you find some good stuff. All right. We have a few proclamations tonight. The first one is for DECA. Whereas DECA is an intensive, relevant, cooperative organization that prepares and emerging leaders and experiences for careers in marketing, finance, and hospitality and management in high schoolers and colleges around the globe. Whereas the Lincoln Park High School DECA team recently traveled to Florida to attend the International Career Development Conference, where more than 10,000 DECA members demonstrate their college and career knowledge and skills by participating in DECA's competition events program. Whereas the Lincoln Park High DECA team earned a first place win. That's first place national, guys. Win for a charitable and giving project befitting the Muscular Dystrophy Research Rising, $7,263, and the most money raised for muscular dystrophy research across the entire DECA organization. Now, therefore, I, Michael Higgins, Mayor of Lincoln Park, Michigan, be, by virtue of the authority vested in me by the laws of the City of Lincoln Park, and I hereby proclaim my congratulations to all DECA students for their hard work and dedication. If you want to please come up here, we'll have you all if you want. Come on up. Yeah, come on up, take a picture.
Do you want to come around, or do you want them?
Yeah, I'll come around.
Good work, team. There we go. Come put your arm around the mayor. Oh, you're going to go back? There you go. Is that going to work? All right, everybody smile. One. Are we good? 1, 2, DECA.
Fuzzy Pickles.
Leslie, you come back up here.
Leslie.
Both these teachers have, not only do they do this, but they do several other great things at the high school. And they have also helped the community in many different ways. And I would like to give them both the key to the city.
Oh, let's get the picture with the kids.
Mayor, can you give them the key and then
Here you go.
There you go.
Give it back.
cheat your face towards us? Okay, there you go. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to use that picture. I got
Okay, go sit down now, Sam.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
First name. The city clerk has asked, because this is somebody who has been very close with the city clerk, who she has worked with, and she's asked to read this, so I'm going to let her.
Great. So what we're going to do now is honor one of my former election workers on her 100th birthday. She's a remarkable woman. She worked for us for a long, long time.
Thank you.
So, whereas Marjorie Putek has made her home in Lincoln Park since 1947 and raised her family here, and whereas Marjorie Putek is the mother of 5 children, the grandmother of 14, and the great-grandmother of 17, and whereas Marjorie Putek has been a support to her community, serving many, many years as an election inspector for the city of Lincoln Park, and a bedrock to her family by encouraging them to excel at any endeavor they undertake, and whereas Marjorie Putek's family and friends wish to honor her on this special occasion and to thank her for her caring, sharing spirit, for her commandment of respect and the acceptance of nothing less, and for being a guidepost for them to follow all their lives. Now, therefore, by virtue of the authority vested in him as mayor of the city of Lincoln Park, Michael Higgins does hereby extend his best wishes to Marjorie Putek on the occasion of her 100th birthday with sincere congratulations for many more happy years.
And just to make it even better tonight, I am giving you a key to the city.
How wonderful. Does it open the safe?
If you haven't heard, there's nothing in the safe.
Wow, very nice.
Oh, how wonderful. Thank you, Carrie.
No, not even.
I can't. I usually just do that for little kids. How wonderful. It's a wonderful city. It's been a long time. I've worked a lot of voters,
Yep, a lot of elections.
been a lot. And you're doing real good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for all that you've done.
Thank you.
And because we're on a hot streak of proclamations, we're going to keep right on going. Whereas Ms. Jan Jesu is distinguishedly served the city of Lincoln Park from October 21st to 1985, October 21st, 1985, until her retirement in June 29th, 2013, and then from October 3rd, 2013, until she retired a second time, May 25th, 2023, and whereas Ms. Jesu has performed duties with the utmost proficiency throughout the employment with the city, earning the respect of her fellow employees and the public. Now therefore be it resolved that Chief Scott Lavis, among with Michael Mayor Higgins and the Lincoln Park Police Department hereby extend our sincerest appreciation for her faithful years of service to this community and wish you the very best and luck for your future endeavors. Come on up.
Don't be shy. Don't be shy.
Congratulations. You gonna retire one more time, or you're done?
I think I'm done. She didn't say I'm done, she said she thinks she's done.
We might convince her.
And you may have heard that tonight we are handing out keys to the city.
She has to turn hers back in before she...
Get in there, Scott. I feel like this one's for real. I'm gonna retire this time.
Good night, Marge. Thank you.
Good night.
Birthday.
See you next year. That's some wink baskets.
Thank you, everyone. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Oh, thank you.
Well done, Decca.
Well done.
Second I see you.
Wait a minute. Our crowd is leaving. We should have held them out to the end. Make them kids sweat it out.
Would have been a UN violation.
Are you sure they might make me want to run from public office?
Resolved that the following items listed under the consent agenda be approved as presented to the mayor and council. Approve the minutes of the regular meeting on May 15, 2023. Approve the minutes of the special meeting session labor negotiations on May 15, 2023. Approve the minutes of the study sessions for the CDBG Section 108 loan held on May 15, 2023. Approve the minutes to the special meeting closed on May 22, 2023. Accounts and claims payable over $25,000. Approve the block party, 3,000 block of Alpha. Approve the special event Fun Foam Youth Center Park. The Metro Art Extension, Metro Act, extension. The approval of the renewal of the annual used auto dealers. The attend training for the CDBG. Solicit bids for the tree services. And solicit bids for removing the retaining wall in Lions Park.
Through the chair,
Yes.
I'd like to move number 9, please, the approve renewal annual used auto dealers to action.
Okay.
Also, Your Honor, I would like to move number 11, bid trees, to an action item. I have some questions in regards to the tree services.
Okay.
Did Lillian need support? I'll support that.
Do you have them both?
I do.
Okay.
Can we pull number 12 also for discussion? Please.
All right. So now we're going with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 10. Anybody else? Okay, got a mover?
Support.
Councilpersons Tobin,
Yes.
Zohr,
Yes.
Bear,
Yes.
Dupre,
Yes.
Ross.
Yes.
Salcido.
Yes.
And Mayor Higgins.
Yes.
I'll do this one,
Okay.
the budget.
Yeah.
Okay, you want to explain what you're doing and then...
We're going to allow the city clerk to read the first resolution. It outlines the budget.
Okay. Be it resolved that for the expenditures of the city government and its activities for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2023 and ending June 30th, 2024, the amounts as presented by the finance director are hereby appropriated. Be it further resolved that the following millage rates as provided by charter or statute be assessed. The operating millage at 18.4398 mils and the library millage at 0.399 mils. And also be it resolved that the financial policies and capital improvement plan be reaffirmed and adopted as part of this budget.
I'll move.
Support.
Any questions? Then we'll call for the vote.
Mayor Higgins,
Yes.
Councilperson Zohr,
Yes.
Bear,
Yes.
Dupre,
Yes.
Ross,
Yes.
Salcido.
Yes.
And Tobin.
Yes.
Thank you.
Now if the Parks and Rec Director will step up.
Excuse me. Good evening, Mayor and Council. The resolution before you is the adoption of the 23-27 Parks and Recreation Master Plan. The background is adoption of the master plan will help to guide the development of city-maintained parks and recreation facilities over the next 5 years. The state of Michigan requires communities to have an up-to-date Parks and Recreation master plan to be eligible for grant funding. Lincoln Park's current master plan expires at the conclusion of this year, 2023. The funds are budgeted into the Parks and Recreation Department's contractual services account. It is recommended that the mayor and council approve the adoption of the 23-27 Parks and Recreation Master Plan.
Okay, with that, whereas the development of an adequate parks and recreation resources require a plan of action based on the combination of expert advice, community input, and analysis of the needs and desires of the population, and that the opportunity to the budget necessary funding and apply for the available grants. And whereas the Parks and Recreation Commission for the City of Lincoln Park is responsible for the development and maintain of the recreational facilities and activities in the city, and whereas the Park and Recreation Commission has directed the development of the update to the City of Lincoln Park 5-year Parks and Recreation Plan, which includes all the elements cited above, and whereas the plan update and development with citizen input through online surveys and public meetings held by the Parks and Recreation Commission, one public input meeting and held on January 17, 2023, and whereas this plan meets the requirements of the Michigan Development and Natural Resources, MDNR, therefore making the City of Lincoln Park eligible for state and federal recreation grant funding administrated by the MDNR, and whereas the Park and Recreation Commission has determined that it approximately addresses the recreation's needs and community, and approved the plan on May 24, 2023, and whereas the City Council and the City of Lincoln Park has received the plan and determined that it properly addresses the recreation needs and of the community. Now therefore, be it resolved that the City Council of the Lincoln Park does hereby adopt the City of Lincoln Parks Parks and Recreation Master Plan 2023 through 2027.
I'll move.
Support.
Anything? Call for the roll.
Councilpersons Ross?
Yes.
Bear?
Yes.
Dupre?
Yes.
Salcido?
Yes.
Soar?
Yes.
Tobin?
Yes.
And Mayor Higgins.
Yes. Okay, well, the city clerk read this one.
Okay, this is for the lot split at 2100 Southfield Road, the old Sears property. Resolved that the mayor and council approve the proposed lot split for parcel number 45005990006,700, commonly known as 2100 Southfield Road, per the survey and legal description provided.
I'll move.
So,
Question for the city manager. With the future plans for them wanting to get some tax rebates, is this going to hold anything up or help them, or can you explain that to the people?
Well, so this will likely require an addendum to their plan, because they are selling some of the property. So Bob could probably explain a little better, but it very well could involve bringing in the new owners as part of a brownfield plan, a new application, or an amended application. Two different applications.
So they want to split this so they can sell it?
Right.
So there's new owners?
for the single lot that is where the proposed hotel development is.
Through the chair,
Yeah.
if I could add, ZBA had a meeting, and this came before ZBA. So they do have a purchase agreement and a commitment for a hotel, and ZBA gave them approval, or gave them their variance approval based on our council's approval and all the other approvals that is needed to, you know,
And they had to and they asked for that because they want to go, the hotel wants to be a fourth floor, am I correct?
yes, the only thing that the zoning board gave them was their variance to have 4 floors on this hotel.
Would you like to add anything?
No, I was just going to answer questions if they came
Okay.
up, but yeah, we've looked at it. It's legal. Will it affect the brownfield? Yeah. How? Not sure yet. But that brownfield was written with the entire parcel in mind, and now it's 2 parcels. And so we're going to have to look at it really hard because we're going to be paying back, if you approve it, 2 entities, not 1.
Okay.
Through the chair, I'm kind of really confused because they came to us with the hotel and then the retail spaces that they wanted to do. Now they're splitting it, so do they no longer want to do the retail spaces? They want to sell that to somebody else to develop?
The owners are selling the parcel that would be the hotel. They would still, as of right now, they would still own the retail proposed
Okay.
development.
And they have proposed buyers.
Okay.
They already have
Right, I know,
their
I was
buyers.
here for that meeting. So, okay, now I'm understanding it better.
To the chair, this will not change as far as what work needs to be done for the brownfield part of it, as far as whatever remediation costs are. This would just affect how the tax credits get applied, right?
Well, when I read through their application, the remediation portion probably will be affected. That 4-story hotel is going to be how deep, John?
About 23 feet.
And I think the plan called for it being like 14 or 16. So we're going to have to revisit a lot of stuff. But I think they know that, so.
Through the chair.
Yes.
Does this mean we can't move through where we are at Brownsfield now until it's all revisited and restructured?
Through the chair, Your Honor, so there's no budget impact, but what do you foresee in the future? Do you see any charges coming up to the city, or?
This is not, brownfields don't work that way. It's tax incremental financing, and what happens is they do the remediation, and then they get to collect the taxes on their portion of it for a period of time.
But
that-
those terms are negotiable?
I think you guys have a lot of homework to do before this comes up. I believe there's a meeting Monday,
Right.
and we'll all kind of sit around and talk about it then. These are relatively complex, and it's going to be something to seriously think about, how to implement it.
I got one more question. Have the hotel people got their approval from the county
For,
or building it because where they wanted to originally build it, they could not?
They do not have Wayne County approval as of yet.
The building department is saying no, they do not, so everybody knows that.
and we're still waiting, and I thank everybody who gave me copies of their maps. We're still trying to figure out where the big drain is that runs from Allen Park. Well, we know where it is, but where their buildings are going to sit in reference to that big 120, I think it's a 128-inch drain. Because the county won't budge on mitigating it or doing anything else with it. And now the right-of-way for it has changed. I'm not sure why, but that's the county. So that's not on our plate at all. And, if they want the brownfield, that's up to you. But in order to do some of the things they want to do, from what we can tell, they have to get that permission first. Now, at the last meeting that I was at, they said they had it, but when I asked for who they were in contact with, I haven't gotten a response yet, so, but they're busy.
Even with changing the right-of-way, the lot split that they want, that area, it's big enough to accommodate the hotel?
Yes.
I knew he was going to sneak up somewhere. And they moved, well, part of the moving and kind of rearranging was that they have to be able to turn a fire truck around. And they have to be able to turn around your big fire truck. And so the first plan we saw was 21 degrees or something like that, and it has to be 30.
In regards to your question, Councilwoman, the Wayne County issue won't be back on their table until they know they have a viable right to buy the property as a split. So until they know the split comes and the contract with them comes, they're not going to go to council, they're not going to go to county for approval of land, lock, and location of building until that. It would be out of order of Wayne County's not going to be able to answer any questions so they know they have the right to use the property. So that's this protocol. The only thing that they did, somewhat out of order because we already paid the bill in the process, is they did go to ZBA because it was already on the agenda and it was already in public hearing. And so they granted it based on a stipulation of council's approval of the split. But the breakdown is most of this lot is on the location where the building of Sears is. So until that's gone, nothing will happen after they get the approval to buy the land.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any further questions? Then we will call for the vote.
Councilpersons Ross,
Yes.
Salcido,
Yes.
Bear,
Yes.
Dupre,
Yes.
Zor,
No.
Tobin,
No.
and Mayor Higgins.
Yes. Okay. Okay, the next is, it is resolved that MDOT contact 223-5066 control section of ST 82211-job 11-2 10-11-4 con -2101 4 PE -21011 PES by between Michigan Department of Transportation and the City of Lincoln Park hereby accepted. Be it further resolved that the City of Lincoln Park's share is $108,000 and the DPS Director, John Kazoo, is hereby authorized to sign documents to the necessary execute the contract.
So moved.
Support.
Through the chair, Your Honor, for discussion, this, I'm not mistaken, this is on 4th Street over there by the Burger King, right? This bridge was done like, what, maybe like 8 years ago?
No.
Where's this at?
Up by Outer.
Up by Outer Drive.
4th Street, Howard Drive. Okay, oh, good. All right, good. Thank you, I'm good.
I
Through
thought
the
it
chair.
was down there too.
Is the funds from this year's budget or next year's?
It'll have to be this year as we're expending the funds.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
The resolution doesn't say where it's coming from, so.
Next up will be the administrator's contract, and we're going to hold on to that.
Can we vote on
Oh,
this?
I guess we can vote on
Okay,
it.
we're going to vote on this. Councilpersons Dupre,
Yes.
Tobin,
Yes.
Bear,
Yes.
Ross,
Yes.
Salcido, Soar,
Yes.
and Mayor Higgins.
Yes, and as I started to say, the administration contract, we're going to hold off to the next meeting, so.
And the appointment.
That would be Resolution 6 also,
And
right?
we also, yes, we'll also be holding off the appointments as well.
There's no vote for that?
Resolved that traffic control order 23-122 regarding the placement of a stop sign on eastbound and westbound Gregory and at Porter approved per recommendation of the police department.
I'll move.
Support.
Yeah. Couple. We skipped a couple. We'll go back and get
All
them.
right, I thought we,
Did anybody want to talk about that?
call for roll.
Okay. Councilpersons Tobin,
Yes.
Soar,
Yes.
Bear,
Yes.
Dupre, Ross,
Yes.
Salcido.
Yes.
And Mayor Higgins.
Yes.
Janitorial services.
I'm going to have the city manager speak to the next one, the cleaning services.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Back in January of 2022, the city awarded a contract to VHM Enterprises for janitorial services at City Hall and the library. The contract, the services started out, kind of okay. We weren't 100% happy with it, but it, wasn't the worst we'd had before. We seemed to struggle with janitorial services, specifically for this building, and we had with the band shell as well, which is partly why we awarded two different contracts, was to try and allow each to really have a little bit more freedom with the services. Unfortunately, over the last 4 to 5 months, the services here at City Hall and the library have really gone downhill. We've tried to work with the contractor to remedy this. We've even gone as far as docking their pay for the days where they didn't, it was clear they didn't do what they were supposed to do. Ultimately, we had received notice that VHM had removed the city as an additional insured, which resulted in a major default in the terms of the contract. So at that point, we informed them that we were terminating the contract. I sent you all an email, I believe that day that we were doing it, and that we'd have to come back to ratify that decision. And then we have contacted the company that was second in line, and they had agreed to hold their pricing. It would increase the overall by about $5,000 annually. But over the course of, 3 weekly cleanings, that's not a ton each week. So what we're looking for tonight is a resolution that ratifies the termination of the janitorial services contract, and then also awards the contract to Wilkins Pro Clean to fulfill the rest of this contract.
I'll move to terminate
Well,
contract.
Gotta read it first. Okay. Be it resolved that the mayor and council ratify the termination of the janitorial services contract with VHM Enterprises, and be it further be resolved that the mayor and council award janitorial service contract for City Hall and the library to Wilkins Pro Clean, and be it finally resolved that the mayor and city clerk authorized to execute the new contract with Wilkins Pro Clean.
I'll second. I have a question. The Wilkins Pro Clean, they have enough staffing to do both buildings?
They've assured us that they do. We actually, during this quick transition, we asked for a quote from them to do a quick deep clean, because we had gone, a couple weeks without a decent cleaning of the buildings. And they provided us a quote that was, I think it was $1,500 total. So it was within the emergency purchasing power of the city. And so we authorized them to do it. And they, pretty much everybody that has come across it has said they were pretty happy with it. So,
To the chair. I did attend the library commission meeting, and I certainly concur they were very unhappy. And they also wanted to know if doing their many, many windows that they have at the library is included in their contractual services.
that is something we might have to look into, because that is not, I believe, typically in a janitorial contract. But it might be something we'd be able to do as an additional once every now and again.
Yeah, that was brought up as
Yeah.
it not being atypical, but due
Right.
to the specific structure of the library, they have a lot of window frontage.
Right.
Thank you.
Through the chair.
Yes.
James, when would the contract expire?
I believe the contract has another year on it.
Okay.
And Wilkins has affirmed to us that they'll be ready to go and start on what would be the regular cleaning, which would be Wednesday of this week. And the benefit to this is they're the ones who have the contract at the Kennedy Memorial Building. And so the staff they have there has already gone through the background screening, so we can expedite some of this as well.
Okay.
And they have done a good job at the band show.
Very good.
Anybody else? Then we will call for the vote.
Councilpersons Dupre?
Yes.
Tobin?
Yes.
Bear?
Yes.
Ross?
Yes.
Salcido?
Yes.
Soar?
Yes.
And Mayor Higgins.
Yes. And whereas John and Tula Morales, who opened the Park Restaurant in 1951 at 1605 Fort Street, were vital, much loved and respected citizens of the city of Lincoln Park, and that the city and the Lincoln Park business community and pathway within days of each other earlier this year. Now it therefore be resolved that John and Tula be honored and remembered by renaming Arlington Avenue between Fort Street and Electric Avenue as Morales Avenue.
Support.
Actually got Mayor, it's already got a mover and supporter.
Unanimous. Yeah, I think it's
Yeah, we can just make that unanimous.
If I could, I'd like to say something.
Absolutely.
They have been such a staple in the city for so long, and they have done so good, so well for people. Losing the parents like that, the two sons, went through a whole lot, and this is a way to honor what their parents started 72 years ago, and honor their sons too, because Leah is carrying on and going forward, and it's been very rough on them, and I just think it's a wonderful thing for the city to do. So, thank you, everybody.
And I'd like to add to that, if I may. The Park Restaurant has been, there are a few places in town that have been the gathering place for Lincoln Parkers who go and could just relax and enjoy food, and that's great. But they went way on beyond that. They cooked meals for wheels. They did meals on holidays for people who couldn't come there or to cook. This family has done an amazing amount of things for the city of Lincoln Park, and this is something that we gladly do to support what they have done for us. This is thank you to them. Thank you, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
The next one is from the building department, if he wants to come up and...
Mayor and council, this request, the cover page on this is regarding the transition of the realignment of the code enforcement from the police to the building department. and we're asking that you would consider continuing the process of giving us access to cutting a hole in the wall between our present building department and the room next door, so that we can expand our uses of the building for the code enforcement division. We would also remove the kitchenette that's in that department as well, and then put the code enforcement coordinator in the front of that door.
Okay, whereas the mayor and council is realigning the code enforcement duties, and it is necessary to create space in the City Hall building to accommodate the manpower shift and the police department to use the building. And whereas the space required currently occupied by non-city employees, and whereas the renovations are necessary to accommodate the move. Now therefore be it resolved that the city manager be and hereby directed to serve notice to the farmers market, and the Chamber of Commerce will need to vacate the offices they are currently using by June 25th, 2023. Be it further resolved that the building official is hereby authorized to proceed with the next portion of Phase 1 and remove the kitchenette from the building department and cut the wall.
I'll move.
Support.
Through the chair, Your Honor, just one quick question. I know that break room's been there for a long time, so the employees will no longer have a refrigerator, stove, or...
There's a kitchenette in the building department, and then there's another one that the employees use for their, the kitchenette. It's because we used to be two different buildings, there's two different kitchenettes, so.
To the chair,
Yes.
the two departments that are leaving, the farmer's market, they've approved where they're going to, like,
The city
are they
has-
happy with their move is what I'm
The
asking?
city has arranged so that the Chamber of Commerce can move into the senior citizen building. There's an office over there that hasn't been used in a few years. They're going to be moving into that. And we've offered something for farmers market. I don't know where we're at with that.
Yeah, so I had actually reached out last week to both the Chamber and the Farmers Market. I've been in conversations with both of the groups for a while now, as we've been seeing that this was probably coming. And I let them know that this resolution was going to be on this agenda, and that we were working to find space. And for the Chamber, we had located an office at the Senior Center, and the executive director of the Chamber was pleased that we had found space, and was happy to oblige based on the fact that it was needed. Of course, he would have rather stayed here, but, and then the farmer's market, I informed them as well, and last I heard, they were understanding.
To the chair, I just like a point of clarification. The senior center is the Kennedy Memorial Building, AKA the band shell.
Part of it, yes.
Part of it.
Yes.
That office used to be the old veteran, where the veteran used to go, where you could talk to a veteran coordinator if you had questions and that, so.
And at
It's been
one
vacant
time-
for,
Yeah, at one time, the senior
7
director
years.
used it for a while, and then the veterans used it for a while, and it's been sitting back there empty for a while, so. And we'd like to thank the Parks and Recreation for stepping up and helping us find a place. Okay, any other questions?
One more question. So if that space gets cleaned now, is that going to be an additional fee from the cleaning service to clean that area?
No, it should be already being cleaned.
Okay.
Yeah, should be.
All right. Just making sure we cover all the bases.
Right.
All right, calling for the vote?
Councilpersons Ross,
Yes.
Bear,
Yes.
Dupre,
Yes.
Salcido,
Yes.
Zor,
Yes.
Tobin,
yes.
and Mayor Higgins.
Yes. Be resolved that Ulysses Jones be and hereby appointed to the Parks and Recreation Commission in the term to expire 5/1/2025.
I'll move.
Support.
Hear no thing, we'll call for the vote.
Councilpersons Ross? Yes. Tobin?
Yes.
Bear?
Yes.
Dupre?
Yes.
Salcido?
Yes.
Zor?
Yes.
And Mayor Higgins.
Yes.
We gotta go to the 10 items that were pulled.
Oh, yeah, we gotta go to the two that we,
I can. So this one, we're going to do the three that were pulled from the consent agenda. The first one will be the renewal of the annual used auto dealers licenses. And the resolution reads, resolved that a renewal of the annual 2023 used auto dealers licenses be approved for the following locations: Downriver Collision Shop, 2323 Dix; Ruby Recycling LLC, 3298 Dix; Templeton Auto Sales, 1276 Fort Street; Park Motor Sales Incorporated, 2256 Fort Street; Jack's Automotive Sales, 3108 Fort; and C&S Auto Sales, 3384 Fort.
Through the chair.
we have to have a motion and a resolution first.
Well, I'll move
Okay, we
for
have a mover.
discussion.
Discussion?
I'll second it.
Wait a second.
Are we able to pull Ruby out of here?
That would be my motion.
Yeah, that's,
Somebody's got to make that motion.
Okay, we can move, I would like to move to remove Ruby.
Going to support that, Lillian? Yep,
It's a motion
absolutely.
To amend the resolution
Right.
to remove
Yes.
Ruby Recycling. And need a support for that. See if
I
mover
support.
and supporter agree with that, then you can just go ahead and take a vote. Who's the mover and
I got
supporter?
support.
Yes. Both are okay with that?
All right, everybody's in agreement, you don't have to take two votes.
Okay.
Okay, anybody has anything else to add or distract? And we will call for the vote.
All right, councilpersons Ross? Yes. Tobin?
Yes.
Bear?
Yes.
Dupre? Yes. Salcido?
Yes.
Soar?
Yes.
And Mayor Higgins.
Yes.
Okay. The next one is for the solicitation of the bids for tree services. The resolution reads, be it resolved that the mayor and council of the city of Lincoln Park authorize the city to solicit bids for tree services.
I believe that was me that made that motion.
I'll second it.
So I have two questions through the chair, Your Honor.
Okay.
The last tree company that we had, they talked about emergencies. If there's an emergency, they wanted to charge us more. Do you guys all remember that? And we denied that. So I see emergencies in here, but it doesn't clarify that. So, which is probably good for us. If there's a horrible event and trees are knocked down, they're not going to ask for more money, correct?
Well, so we have it in here, we have a definition of an emergency. What exactly that is. Yeah, we had
It
it,
was kind of vague, but that's okay. I
Yeah,
just want to make sure that they're not going to want more money in the event of a...
right, they're gonna give us a quote, an actual bid for what it costs hourly for an emergency service.
But that's not in here.
It is.
It is.
It is part of this,
You
yes.
get- it says- Okay, good, so you
Yes.
saw that, all right.
Yeah.
The other part is, I believe our current tree company is also using land at the DPS.
Right.
So are we going to allow this new company to have access to DPS, or,
So that was something that had been worked out from, with the department and the current contractor. The department has not been happy with that arrangement, so we won't be pursuing that.
So it's not- so-
But it's not part of the
that's what I'm saying, I don't want them to
specific-
come back
right.
later and say, we want to use the land. So
Right.
That's always been a separate lease agreement.
Good, all right, so the emergencies are covered, we're happy with that, I'm happy with that, and they're probably not going to use our land. So that's, I'm happy with that, so thank you very much.
Any other questions? Then we will call for the vote.
Councilperson Zor?
Oh,
I'm
one
sorry.
second, we have someone in the audience would like to ask a question. Sorry about that.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Richard Kudrak. I'm paraphrasing the email I sent you. My granddaughter owns a house at 1845 Michigan. There is a massive tree planted in the easement. The tree substantially overhangs the property lines, both the east and the west and the street. And when we have the fall leaf season, the massive amount of leaves present an undue burden for the neighbors to clean up that mess. Plus, all of those leaves in the street are an issue for street cleaning as well as street drainage. Now, I don't know who planted this tree, but it's in the easement, so it's the city's tree. And I've always thought that residents ought to be able to nominate a tree for trimming or removal. This tree's already been referred twice on the city's website. I really think there are some trees in the city that shouldn't be there. They were planted many, many years ago. They're totally overgrown for area. They cause problems for the neighbors, do not enhance the neighborhood. So at least that tree, somebody take a look at it and see, is it appropriate to trim it, cut it down, and maybe move on to other trees that are doing the same thing to their neighbors? Thank you so much.
I'm going to ask that you could please have the address sent to the city manager.
1845 Michigan.
Okay, thank you. Okay, now we will call for the vote.
Councilperson Zohr?
Yes.
Tobin?
Yes.
Bear?
Yes.
Dupre? Yes. Higgins?
Yes.
Ross?
Yes.
Salcido?
Yes.
And Mayor Higgins.
Yes. And now we will hear from our city manager. Oh, no, we have one more.
Nope, we have
sorry.
one more.
Add one more.
This one is concerning the retaining wall at Lions Park that's in disrepair. And the resolution reads, "Be it resolved that the mayor and city council authorize the city of Lincoln Park to solicit bids for the wall removal project at Lions Park. Be it further resolved that the landscape blocks be removed and from Lions Park will be reused as planter boxes at the Kennedy Memorial Building."
I'll move
I'll
with
support.
discussion.
Through the chair.
Yes.
So I know that you want this to go out to bid. I was under the impression that twice this has come up with two different people giving amounts of what they would be willing to do to take it down. I believe the last one was like $5,000 to take it down. And I'm just wondering if that's what the cost is to do this, why does it have to go out to bid? Isn't this something that is within our boundaries to authorize?
This is the cost beyond what we normally put out for bid, and so that is why we decided to put it out for bid, because
And the other-
originally, that's not, what wasn't the plan, but when we looked at the cost of it, we decided we had to put it out for bid to be,
Okay.
to be,
To the chair,
yes.
one question I have about that is that it's a safety concern, that the wall just continues to crumble,
Yes.
and I'm afraid that somebody would get hurt. And isn't there a way to enhance the process so that it won't take long? It's already been 3 weeks. We already have somebody that's willing to do the labor, install everything. So safety isn't and this is Lions Park, for anybody that doesn't know where.
Our head of our DPS is down here, let's have him have a speak.
This is across from the ball fields on LeBlanc.
And it's set up for a handicap park, so it makes it even,
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Just to try to give a little clarification, I've seen one quotation for removal only, $10,500. I'd heard that there may be another one out there for $5,000 for the removal. I haven't seen it, but the other part to that is the Parks and Recreation Director would like to reutilize, I'm going to call it the decorative block that's used for that wall, over at the band shell for a couple of different location purposes, which would then require footing to be placed underneath it. So between the removal and installation, it's going to be over $5,000.
So you're asking that the company that offered to do Lions Park and stack the bricks, you now want that company or whoever bids on this to bid putting a foundation in and putting that up at Memorial Park building?
I would put it this way, whoever the low red bidder is, the bid will include relocating the block and putting in various block wall decorative planting areas.
And they'll...
It'll all be one bid.
And it'll also include on the block itself, cementing or concrete will be used as joints on that?
Putting in footings, the block, and try to use as much of the cap that is presently over at the Lions Park reutilizing it. And if there isn't enough to reutilize, I'll have to supplement it with additional cap. That way, we don't have to get rid of the existing decorative block wall. Let's reutilize it.
I appreciate that, but how this originally started was that the company offered to do Lions Park.
Just to remove, as I understood it, I came into maybe 1/3 of this movie. They were going to just simply take down the wall and put the block on pallets. Then we were going to transfer that over to the band shell.
Correct. But one other thing, though. The city, or I'm sorry, Parks and Recs, Dennis, wasn't there a drawing that he initially gave you to show what their intention was originally? I'm sorry, I'm trying to make sure.
The drawing that was included with the $10,000 quote was for the re-landscaping and whatnot of the area where the wall is currently at Lions Park.
And he showed you a drawing of that, correct?
Yeah, it was a rough sketch of it.
Thank you, Dennis.
Through the chair.
The building department came up, and I think we want to hear from him, too.
The original design also had a $10,500 bid, not only to redecorate and give you fresh landscaping, but they were going to remove and crush the stone. I couldn't promise that that was going to happen when it was somewhere between 1,500 and 1,700 pieces of reusable stone. And so to let him take it and then do the work for $10,000 could have very well mathematically if he took the stone and didn't destroy it, and we had to replace that stone ourselves, it would be about $7,000 to $8,000 in current price tag. So to answer the next question to you, if we could claim it and let someone else level it and replant it and take care of the dirt that's there, that's one thing. But if we could take the stone and reuse it, the stone is designed differently than what you're describing when you're talking about a mortar system, an S or an N style mortar system. This is a decorative piece, and they actually have locking devices in them. So they're meant to sit and be adhered or glued, if you could use that word, and they lock themselves, so they're cross-membered. So they're not designed to have a half-inch of mortar systems to build them together. They're really designed to be a self-building, and if you wanted to, you could drive rebars down them. The problem what was at the Lions Park was they did them without any backwash, so all the dirt as it went down pushed all the walls out with no design to hold them in place. There was no cross members to hold them straight. That's why they fell. That falling process started over a year ago. And when we found out that the Lions were not able to maintain it, that's when we began to look for solutions. And so there's the back history and the current value of these stones. If we are going to have them anyhow, we should consider using them instead of giving them away for someone else to reuse them at no cost to them.
Well, I understood that they weren't going to be given away.
Oh, that's Reese
I wanted to just clarify everything.
The original $10,000 grant was to take the stones with them. The $10,000, 500 was to take the stones out and re-landscape, but they were taking the stones with them for $10,000.
Thank you very much for the clarification, sir.
Through the chair.
Yes.
This is the planter boxes, and they're not actually going to be planter boxes. They're more or less going to be a border where the railroad ties are, which will enhance the front of the band shell. Now, are you planning on going around the senior center?
Yes.
Okay, are you going anyplace else in the park with them or in the area?
So the idea for the reuse at the band shell, if you can imagine that the front face facing Ferris, along the room A wall, which is the large face of the building, there's trees along that section. There's railroad ties there currently that are rotted out. They need to be taken out. It'll enhance that side over there. Then we can put mulch in that area. To the right of the porch, if you're looking at the street, there's a row of hedges right there. Currently, there's no border. It's just a little rubber edging that's all tore up from being hit by mowers and whatnot. Putting something there to make it look nice. And then to the rear of the senior center by the stage area, there's a tree that already has blocks around it, but they're blown out, they're falling apart. Redoing that, leveling it off a little bit more, probably bringing that grade down just a little bit, because it is a little high. Rebuilding that wall, and then remulching that area.
Yeah, but nothing in front of the senior center?
No, not really.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
To the chair, one last question, Dennis. The funds for this, if it's the lowest bidder, will that come from the Parks and Rec funds, or will this come from the city funds?
It's all part of, it would all be general fund.
Yep.
Okay,
Parks and Rec is paid for through
okay.
general fund.
Sorry, I just
No, you're fine.
making
Through the
sure I
chair, just
cover
one
all
more
the
question. And
bases.
Dennis, if you would, before you leave. You had me until you said wall. I thought we were doing borders.
Yeah, it'll probably be 2 courses up, so a short little retaining wall.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Any other questions before Dennis runs off? Okay, we will call for the vote.
Councilperson Zohr?
Yes.
Mayor Higgins?
Yes.
Councilpersons Bear?
Yes.
Dupre?
Yes.
Ross?
Yes.
Salcido?
Yes.
And Tobit.
Yes.
Now is the city manager's report.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. And kind of to that last item, this has been an issue we've been trying to deal with for quite some time. So it is nice to really get some movement and actually be progressing forward with this project. So thank you for that. First meeting of the month, so real quick, there's only one anniversary of note coming up in June. And that would be our Chief Lavis back there, who's hitting 25 years. Congratulations, Chief. There are a couple others, but a couple of them actually got recognized last year, so. All right, so a couple other things here. DPS, at the end of last week, was able to knock off what was at that point the current pothole list. I'm sure at this point it has grown significantly over the last couple days, but they were able to get caught up. So as of Friday, there were no outstanding pothole claims on the list, which was good. I was asked, I think it was last meeting, about the C of O listing for the month. I was able to get the last month out. I'm still chasing some down for you guys. I was also asked about GFL tonnage reports. I have it on good authority. I'm supposed to have it tomorrow. So hopefully tomorrow I have an updated GFL tonnage report. They're having a ton of issues with turnover. Also, I'm hearing reports that our grounds maintenance contractor is having some turnover issues as well. So I think we've been having some minor issues with areas that should have been mowed and have consistently been mowed that weren't over the last couple weeks. So some new people, I think, are trying to learn the route. So we're working with them on that. Some of the paving projects, Washington has been paved. As you saw coming here, Cleophas, that about 120 feet is paved and good. This week, work should be going on Grant Street. I think they're hoping Thursday and Friday to get rolling on that. But other than that, it's been a lot of kind of keeping up the momentum that we're going here. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
Okay, I'm going to ask you, I got him first now.
You're the chair.
A lot of reports coming in, all of a sudden, more than usual for, even for them, the GFL. And I want you to give us an update on that. And there was one street that they've missed for an entire week.
Well, if you could get me that street.
It was electric.
Okay.
They didn't, and you knew, you reported part of it, I know for sure, because it was called in. They never did it all that last week. They finally did it this week.
Okay.
But it's just, that is not acceptable. and we must do something.
Well, so yeah, last week seemed to be an exceptionally, and I want to put it in perspective, because last week was what seemed to be an exceptionally rough week for the pickup. Of course, they were delayed a little bit because of the holiday, but we had, I think, over the course of the week, I think I said it was about 40 calls, which is higher than we've been having recently. But we have to also put in perspective, the GFL's picking up from 14,000 different addresses, 3 different pickups. So that's 42,000 pickups over the course of a week. If we got 40 calls, that represents about 0.1% of all the pickups. So I'm sure there are more out there that weren't reported, but we do have to keep some of that in perspective, and most of those were addressed pretty much immediately and taken care of. I do know there are a couple that were outstanding, and trying to address those is not always easy. I know they're having difficulty with getting some of the carts. For a little bit there, I believe they were starting to drop off some carts at DPS. I don't know if they are out now, but we'll try and get them to drop some more off at DPS so that when we get the calls on replacement carts, we can at least act quickly on our end. So that's kind of an update for GFL.
Okay.
Through the chair?
Go ahead.
Since you ended with GFL, James, I'll just start with GFL. In my area, Thursday is trash pickup, and yard waste was missed. I tend to be a little hard-headed, so I left my yard waste sitting there, right? Well, because, too, it was the holiday, right? Then Saturday came, and it still wasn't picked up, but I still left it. Sunday morning, before 9 a.m., they came through. So I give GFL credit because they are trying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they are dealing, and I know just like other contractors, they are dealing with some staffing issues, short staff, and of course, right, they've contracted with us, so we shouldn't be dealing with staffing issues being an issue, but it's kind of the reality we're facing right now.
For everyone, as well as us, too. So
Right.
that's why I guess it's easy for me to be a little bit more understanding. But the potholes, you mentioned the potholes. Are we now going to manage the potholes Monday through Friday?
I'm looking at John, see his plan for the schedule moving forward. I know now that they're caught up, it should be easier to keep up.
Good evening again. This is a perfect opportunity. I'd like to go back to why has the city gotten rid of a janitorial service? They're doing a bad job, and it's staffing. GFL, kind of rough staffing. We ourselves are missing 6 people. I've got one in the hospital tonight, and I've got another one going in Friday, so I'm missing 2 more there. Right now, that's 8 people. We've got a lot of water main breaks going. So where I'm going with all this is we'll do what we can on potholes. Potholes are coming up faster than we can fix them, but so are water main breaks and other issues. We'll do what we can, but these guys are beat to death right now because they worked Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
And I know they worked in the heat for a
And
couple
that's
days.
tough on
filling those
anybody and everybody,
potholes.
including you and I.
Appreciate it.
Yes.
But I would really love to not have potholes that have been reported stay on the report for over 30 days.
So would I. I'd like to also have brand-new roads, but I can't provide that either.
John, I would like to say, though, I have had several calls to my office, and I've talked to several citizens throughout town who've seen your guys out there working and seen them, and just want to say thank you.
Well, thank you.
And the guys are doing a good job.
Yeah, we'd love to have 0 potholes and stay current with them.
Well, and then something else that John and I have been discussing, we're looking at some other actions that we can try and take. We did a pilot on Goddard for some spray patching. We're looking at potentially expanding that on some of the other areas that are recurrent issues. So hopefully...
That was one of my questions. Have you looked at other cities and seen how they're doing it, how they're keeping up? I mean, I don't think they're quite as bad as we are, but, I mean, they have actual plans in place and a duration of they do it and it's okay for a couple years, and then you can get caught up with other things before you have to go back and do that. I mean, there's got to be other stuff out there besides
So
what we're doing
the
and no hot
most,
patch happening.
so looking at, I think it was the U.S. Highway Authority's standards on pothole repair, what we do is actually the most common practice. Granted, it's not the most, it doesn't have the most longevity. The best thing you could do would be to truly get down there, clean it, put some kind of adhesion down, and then put like a hot mix asphalt down, because that'll stay, and roll it. We're strapped. It would be very difficult for us, especially when we were as far back as we were there, to be able to hit them all in
Well,
that
yeah,
fashion.
but I'm talking about hiring somebody else, like another company that can go in and do this and also do the cleanup. Because right now, it just seems like if you're doing the potholes and the roads are left the way they are, the cold patch is just getting torn up by everything that's still on the roads.
Right, and this was John and I were talking about expanding the spray patching. We had done that pilot with a different company. And then we also have received some quotes from other companies.
Okay, it's just because, I mean, as far as Goddard goes, we have to do something before that falls apart.
Yeah, we believe we should be able to do the spray patching from where we ended all the way to Fort Street this year.
To the chair.
I had a couple other.
Go ahead.
Thank you.
But, okay.
7-Eleven, has that been addressed, the loudspeaker?
As far as I understand, it has been.
Okay, very
It's
good.
been readdressed because it was addressed and now we have
Yes.
issues again. That was,
Okay.
Don't go away, John.
And so now that we did not approve the renewal application of Ruby Recycling, what happens next?
Well, that's going to be a strategy session with the building department, our city attorney, myself, and the fire chief, probably about first thing tomorrow morning.
Okay.
To figure out what comes next.
Okay, please let us know.
Yep.
I have a couple other things. So I'm going to bring back our old favorite, the enclosure of the dumpster at the KMB building.
We've got the bid specs. We can put it back out to bid. We've already authorized Carrie and Ed. I don't know, do we need to come back to reauthorize us to put it out to bid? No, we've already done that. Okay, so yeah, we can put it back out to bid and
Okay,
try and
because
get.
it's been forever and it doesn't seem like it moves forward. Also, there's on Southfield Road, the big hole that's been there all weekend filled with water, that's spewing water down Electric and onto Southfield. Is that a Wayne County break? Is that a City of Lincoln Park break?
No, that's,
our water
if I
main break.
could,
Yeah.
that's actually a Wayne County water main issue.
That's what I thought.
Even though it's underneath a City of Lincoln Park water main issue, even though it's underneath a Wayne County roadway. They had that issue Friday, they got that corrected. Then we ended up resulting of that with a gate valve problem. This morning, when trying to repair the gate valve that was spewing all the water, it turned out to be an added water main break adjacent to the gate valve. They got that corrected. Now, tomorrow morning, they're going to try to do the gate valve. But we're hoping, once that's repaired, it does not break a couple of feet away. And that's what we're finding problems with now. Then Saturday and Sunday, they had one, or two of them off of off of Lafayette over the weekend.
I saw him working on it.
It just seems like a lot of water all those days coming out everywhere, and I know I got a lot of phone calls on it.
Yeah.
And I'm, to add to this, I'm having to utilize a contractor to assist us with these water main breaks, because right now, I've got one person on military duty, and he'll be gone for approximately another week and a half. And I have one other active existing water department person, and the others are brand-new people that don't have more than a month's worth of work experience.
To the chair.
yes.
Can't the city come up with a solution to personnel for the DPS, other than requiring them to have a CDL? Can't we have anybody of 18 years or older that is, has a driver's license, can pass backgrounds, be, like, have a pool started, have students or people that we could have as employees, whether it just be for the summer months or for the whole year. I'd like to just see some kind of a program to help with personnel, and if we use them as summer help, if they come back to the city for a job, they'd be first in line to be hired, because they've already learned and experienced a lot of what they're doing. I'm just trying to come up with solutions for our personnel. I'm just offering it.
Yeah, the biggest issue is finding the people. Because to be honest, they're not breaking down the door for a full-time position, a regular full-time position, let alone something seasonal right now.
Through the chair, Your Honor. Are you done, Mr. Zoll? You want to have any more questions?
Oh, no, go for it.
Spinning off from Mr. Zoll, I happen to be in the town all this weekend, traveling to many places in the city, so I have several questions. I did come across some workers that said they've referred people from the DPS, they've referred friends to come up and get applications and stuff, and they either haven't heard back or they're waiting on a background check. So maybe in 2 weeks, can you give us a report on how many people actually applied for the DPS and how
many
long does it
applicants
take
we've
for a
had?
background check?
Okay, yeah,
If you can give us that information, because I'm hearing mixed things, that people are coming to the city asking about employment at the DPS, and they're not getting answered. They're not getting answers, or they're not, so I don't know whose department that is, but we can check on that?
Yeah, I will say that typically, at least the last number of guys we've hired, because we do the test in-house, we do our own DPS technician test, we're able to, application to start date, as long as we're getting proper responses back from the applicant, as long as the applicant gets through and is able to schedule the background screening and the physical drug screening and all that, we've been able to get guys in from application to start date in a month, which is...
What takes the longest? Because I'm hearing that background checks only take a day from the police department, if anyone wants to comment on that, but I'm hearing it's taking longer.
Sometimes it's getting the appointment to do the physical and drug screen. That can take a while, and then it's been taking 3 to 5 days to get that back.
Is that because of the CDL?
No, that's not, has nothing to do with the CDL yet.
All right.
They have 6 months in which they can train to get their CDL once they're hired.
Final question on the DPS. If someone has a speeding ticket in the city, does that mean they're not required to work in the city? Is that like you can't work for the city if you have a speeding ticket or parking ticket?
I'll let Chief Lavis come up and explain some of the background check.
Criteria, I'm sorry you lose because you had a parking ticket.
No.
Thank you.
We do the backgrounds, a brief background on them, and the ones that I've seen since I've been where I'm at, the ones that are not making it, there's reason for that.
Okay, and I appreciate that.
And it's not a traffic.
And how long does it take for a background check, historically?
A couple days.
Thank you. Okay, thank you very much.
Previously, Jan Jesu would start them, get them to me, then, so I'm doing it all now.
Thank you. If you don't mind staying up at the podium, I have some other questions. In regards to 7-Eleven, that's been a big thing. I understand why those cameras are there. It's for the safety of the employees and the customers also, right? Why does it have to talk? So I didn't hear the resolution today. Maybe we can tell the residents some more information, because I'm not up to speed on that. The camera's going to stay, speaker gone. Let's put this to rest tonight. What's the latest on 7-Eleven on Southfield?
It was handled last month. They turned the speaker down. That was to a tone which nobody could hear. The corporate apparently wants it there right now. Mr. Patel, the owner, was out of the country for some family matters. He is back. I talked to him this morning, and he was issued a
a violation for disturbing the peace.
Saturday. Right.
Yes. Today I went there, talked to the guy who's ringing everybody's ears.
Thank you.
His complaint is valid. And I talked to Mr. Patel after he touched down from out of the country. And according to him, he's getting rid of it.
Okay.
So he said about a week or so it'll be out of there. And as of right now, they shut the volume off.
Cool. I understand why it's there, I really do. But, all right, thank you so much. Still have a couple more questions. Thank you, Chief. Ruby's Recycling, once again, I know there's a big powwow coming up, right? And I've been there several times. I was there this weekend, and the dust is horrendous. The smell wasn't so bad this time than the last time, so hopefully that can get a resolution soon, because I believe, perhaps maybe they shouldn't be there, but I am not going to discourage business coming to Lincoln Park, but I think more should have been done perhaps. So we'll follow up perhaps next week with this meeting. I'm saying this for our residents of Lincoln Park, please be patient, because I've been getting a lot of calls and text messages about this business, and I'm hoping that things will be resolved soon. Also, the Quam Park grass and Ford Park on Buckingham Street, I'm not sure if those grasses were cut. I drove by there Saturday, they weren't, they were more than 8 inches tall. We tell our citizens to be diligent on their sidewalks. I would hope that our parks can be maintained in the same regard. And also, at another note, LA Market just opened up 3 weeks ago. It's a little supermarket on 4th Street, and the side street, I think, is Pago. It's a nice little restaurant on the west side of 4th Street, supermarket, maybe one day a restaurant, but please check that out. And that's all I have, Your Honor. Thank you for your time, and thank you, residents, for your patience. Things are happening. Thank you.
Through the chair, I just wanted to, on what Eric said about the seasonal employees, I think that it should be advertised in colleges and schools, so that we can, even if we can get somebody when they get out of high school or they break for the season at college to come and work for us, it would take a big load off the department, and we could see a lot more accomplished. But if we're not reaching out to those people, not only we're not doing something right, but down the road we might be looking at a full-time employee that will stay with us. And so we're losing opportunity there. So I'd like to see that opened up.
Okay, so on that, we haven't actually had a seasonal employee position at the DPS for a number of years, since before I came here. If it's something...
Time to start.
It very well could be, and I'd rather talk with John about that before, because, there is some training that would have to go into it and some of that, so at some point there's a rate of diminishing returns, right, especially if it's only for a 3-month period, So I'll work with John for sure to talk about options there, but I just want to make sure everybody is aware that we haven't had seasonal positions in the budget for a while. So, yeah, it's not a bad idea, for sure.
That's all I'm...
Anything else for the city manager? Then we will go on to our department head, I believe.
Good evening again, Mayor and Council. Just a couple of things. On the Ford Park, I did call on Friday and talked to the area manager, and it was taken care of when I went by late on Saturday evening, I believe it was. It looked like it had been cut, but it does need to be done again. And I will go out and check the parks again tomorrow and see which ones have been missed, because I believe it was Maple Park also hadn't been done. Just a couple of things tonight. We approved the master plan. Thank you for that. The department and the commission are looking forward to starting to move forward with some new ideas and stuff, and some projects that they want to start looking at doing, and some grant opportunities for that. what we had going on since the last time. We had a cleanup day event on April 22nd. It was pretty well attended. There was approximately 80 people that we had registered online that showed up, but I would guesstimate it was a few more than 80 that showed up for that. The Spring Carnival that happened this last weekend and the weekend before, I'd like to thank Maureen for helping set that up. We did very, very, very well on that one. So thank you. And we're looking to do it again, possibly for next year. Going to wait to talk with the Carnival people on which weekends, but probably somewhere around the same time again. The summer concert series started off last Thursday. It was very well attended. This Thursday we got Category 5, and they will be taking the stage at 7 o'clock. Upcoming events, we've got, we're still accepting applications for the Downriver Cruise, which will be on June 23rd and 24th. That's a Friday and a Saturday. Art in the Park, which is on Friday, July 28th and Saturday, July 29th. If you need applications, they're on the city website under the Parks and Recreation section under events, or you can call the department at the band shell at 386-1817, or shoot an email to events@citylp.com and somebody will email them out to you. Right now, we're in the process of switching over our management software for the department from our current, which is RecPro software. They were actually bought up by another company that we were already looking at, so it made the transition very easy. We're going to be switching over to DaySmart Recreation. Right now, we're in the build-out process for that. We're looking at possibly going live, hopefully by July 1st, if not, maybe a little bit earlier, because the trainings are going really smooth and really easy. The software will be a lot more user-friendly for the customers and provide more functionality on our end, so that we can manage the classes and the rentals and some of the park assets that we also have, like equipment and whatnot. We got training coming up. Myself, Austin Carroll, the Assistant Director, and one of our guys, Philip Wheatley, will be attending next week the North American Ring Conference and Expo again. Also, Austin Carroll completed the process of becoming a certified playground safety inspector. So that certification is good with them for 3 years, and he's going to be starting to go out and conducting some inspections over the next few weeks. Obviously not next week because we'll be in Buffalo, so so when we come back. And then we'll be coming up with some kind of a plan on what needs repair, what needs replacement, and prioritizing those so we can get on top of this stuff. Our events coordinator started today, so you'll probably be seeing a new person coming around. Don't be afraid to go up and introduce yourself. Her name is Stephanie Davis, and if you need to get a hold of her, she is at the band shell, so give her a call or stop on by. Lastly, the Parks and Rec Commission is still looking to fill 2 seats on the commission. So if anybody knows of anybody who might be interested or might be a good fit for our little commission, they can go onto the city's website under the boards and commissions, fill out the application, and we'll get them on board. That's about all I got for this evening. Any questions?
To the chair.
Yes.
Dennis, have you received an application from a woman named Rachel?
I have not, but I can check on that tomorrow.
Okay. That's all. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And now we have citizens' comments. Anybody from the audience would like to address?
Good evening, Richard Kudrak, One of the things I forgot to mention about those trees, the city-owned trees and easements, when they raise the sidewalk and they raise the driveway approach, and then you want the homeowner to take care of that trip hazard, it's kind of aggravating. I think if the city plants the tree, the city is responsible for the tree, and the city should take care of the trip hazards that their tree created. Recommendation for the mayor, when you're introducing groups like DECA, which most of us are totally unfamiliar with, every mayor uses acronyms. How about giving us the full name? Tell us who they are, tell us what they do, and then start saying, oh, DECA does this, that, you know, we're talking about DECA. We don't know who you're talking about. I don't know that group. Every mayor has done it, and unless I bring it up, you're going to continue to do it. Recommendation for city manager, you said the backlog of pothole repair is done. Please check on the report for the intersection of Porter and Michigan. There's about 6 large potholes in that same intersection, and yes, I went online twice and reported it. Let's just see if it appears anywhere in the current or past record. Because if it's not there, then we have a problem with the online reporting of potholes. Thank you.
Hello, City Council. What a great day, hearing all the groups in the beginning and then see the hard work you guys pulled together. My name is John Waterman, and I'm the founder and executive director of PEAK, which is a program that empowers individuals with disabilities through active modes of transportation: biking, buses, and walking. Today, we purchased the Al Petrie building just before COVID hit, so we haven't had a chance to introduce ourselves to you. And today I have 2 individuals with me who would like to share a little bit about what they do in our organization and their time. First, I'm going to start with a resident of Lincoln Park, which is
Ebony.
And Ebony, do you have a disability?
Yes.
Would you mind to share? You don't have to, right? But do you mind sharing?
Sure, I have a cognitive impairment, which means reading and writing is tough.
And so, do you have a job?
Yes, I do.
What do you do?
I work for the after-school program for the YMCA in Southgate.
So, the building at 2164th Street, right? What do you call that building?
Peak?
The Peak building?
Yeah.
What do you do there?
We do busing, walking, mechanics, and basically.
Yeah, so you've been doing some pretty cool things, right?
Yes.
What have you been helping other individuals with disabilities do?
How to fix bikes and put them together.
Excellent. Thank you so much. And then we also have here.
Taria Sims.
And Tria, do you have a disability?
Yes.
What is it?
A cognitive impairment.
Oh, I thought and you never have to share that, right?
Right.
And that was a tough thing to share. And can I help you a little bit with it? A cognitive impairment means reading and writing is tough. And for many years, you were kind of embarrassed about that, weren't you?
Yes.
Are you embarrassed about that now?
No.
No. And it's hard to talk about it in public. But you're doing some amazing things. You sit on what committee do you sit on?
The RTA.
The RTA, that's the Regional Transportation Authority?
Yes.
And you sit on the Citizens Advisory Committee?
Yes.
You went to Lincoln Park High School?
Yes.
Was it cool to see your teacher here? Yeah, it was. What do you do with Peak?
I teach kids like me to ride the bus, and next year I get to go to the school and teach other kids like me how to ride the bus.
And don't you know? And so one of the hard things is when you have a disability, you don't get to see other individuals like your disability. You have someone like myself telling you, this is how you do something. This is how you take the bus. Peak is breaking new grounds by showing that individuals with disabilities can teach each other to travel independently, to go from place to place. Now, tonight's kind of a light night for us, right?
Yeah.
You got to be up in the morning, don't you?
Yeah.
All right. Well, Was there something you want to ask city council and the mayor and other people?
I was wondering if you guys would like to either ride the bus or take a bike ride.
So if they take a bike ride with us, would we supply the bikes for them?
Yes.
If someone can't ride a two-wheel bike, what would we do?
Put them on the back of a tandem.
Put them on the back of the tandem with
Yeah.
me?
Yeah.
Have you guys ever seen me drop anybody? I've had some pretty dangerous people on back there. So you'd be safe, and if you wanted to use a trike, you could, but I can guarantee you, I'm not going to fall. So if you're on the tandem with me, you won't fall. The route you take, what do we call that route?
The 2-mile loop.
The 2-mile loop, and that is basically down, we go down Fort Park, we don't go down Lafayette, right?
Yes.
You can, are those, how do you describe those roads?
Nice.
Nice roads?
Yeah.
Are all roads nice roads?
No.
Do we have some mean roads?
Yes. Yes.
What would you describe as a mean road?
When people fly down the corners.
Yep, give me a name of a road that you think is mean in our community.
Southfield.
Southfield, yep, that's a mean road, isn't it? Tough to cross, cars going fast, they beep the horn at us. Almost hit people, right?
Yes.
Any other mean roads?
Fort Street.
Fort Street, those are mean roads, right?
Yes.
And we'd love to have people walk with us and see what it's like for us to be independently walking in our community. Please reach out to us. We would love to have you guys. We're going to be coming back here more so you know who we are and what we're about, and we'd love to have a chance to ride and bike with you. And Mr. Mayor, I do know that bike, and we are going to be definitely talking to you about that in the future. So thank you so much for visiting us and seeing what's going on there.
As he said, I came by and visited them when they first opened, and what they're doing over there is amazing work with their kids, and thank you for being all that you do.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Cliff Eberts, longtime Lincoln Park resident and third generation or fourth generation founding family of this fine city. First, I just wanted to say I'm glad to see that Scott Lavis has stepped up for our retired Chief Waters. Chief Waters did a great job for the city, and Scott's going to do just as good, if not a better job, with the officers he's got. You could see him all out at night, so you can feel safe knowing that our police force is out there taking care of you. Second of all, I called the non-emergency line to get hold of someone to let him know, and I'm glad John's here. That water main on Southfield that they just fixed, that second one opened up again and it's gushing water everywhere. That's one question. Second question is, when water mains break like that, who pays for that loss of water and for the sewage? And thirdly, who do we talk to about Central Dispatch? Because I called and I got put on hold for about 4 minutes while they waited to take my call for what my situation was. And I'm thinking, my God, you know, what would have happened if this would have been a life-threatening call? You know, somebody at the school with a gun, an active shooter, or maybe somebody sick having a heart attack and needing emergency assistance. You know, we got a great police force, but if Central Dispatch is going to put you on hold for 4 minutes, that's kind of a downer because, you know, you depend on the information to get through. The police and the fire can't do their job if we don't have a Central Dispatch that we can trust to get the information, and to be put on hold about it for, you know, 4 or 5 minutes, that's ludicrous. It's unheard of. The other thing is, John, do we know with those water main breaks on Southfield and others, because people are talking about low water pressure, is somebody going to look into seeing how the infrastructure underneath is so we don't get a sinkhole where cars drive over and somebody accidentally falls in? I'm just curious. I thought I'd let you know about that other main break. Thank you. Well, the first one was over by the Family Dollar where they had just fixed it. I just came out of work and I noticed that when I was driving through. It's all wet all over Southfield, and it's gushing out in 2 locations there like you would not believe. And in one block west of Ferris by the 7-Eleven over there, that gate valve, whatever it is, that's shooting up too, and it was doing it the other day. They had it stopped, and the last question I have, is that going to be an issue for people with low water pressure? And are they going to have to boil water? Are they going to have to watch how they use their water? Is that going to be a problem? And is that going to affect us if there's a house fire, a business fire? We just want to make sure so the citizens know what to do when these kind of situations arrive.
John, can you come up to the microphone and,
That way we can get them some good answers.
we don't normally answer citizens tonight, but this is going to be asking people, with water pressure tonight, so let's just at least get that.
Thank you for bringing those to our attention. The first one, and I'm going to say Southfield and Electric, that's one that we were out on this past Friday. Well, we were back out today. We know that there's a third issue at that location that will not affect the water pressure. We have another one at approximately Ferris, which is a valve, and we have not yet checked that, but we're going to be repairing that after we repair the valve at Southfield and Electric. Those are scheduled for tomorrow.
Okay, cool.
And as far as a boil water alert, negative, we will not.
Okay, cool.
Microphone's yours.
Okay, and I'm going to have to say, Cliff, you've used your whole 5 minutes here.
Okay, I was just going to say one more quick thing. On Washington Street, they did a good job on it. Going down White, there's bumps everywhere. I just put 4 brand-new shocks on my Jeep, and every time you go over some of those bumps, you're bottoming out. So think of what it's doing to our city vehicles and other people's cars and our police cars. So we need to look into seeing about getting some of those bumps smoothed out. White Street in Washington, White Street needs to be fixed quickly. Thanks.
Anybody else want to speak to this body? That being said, we will go to council report, and we will go to council president.
Thank you, Mayor. I will pass tonight. It's been a long night. Thank you very much. School will be out soon, so be safe, everybody.
Okay.
Tracy?
I would like to thank all the parade volunteers and participants. It went off very well, and the volunteers worked hard, and again, it was a success this year. We're very proud of that. The Downriver Comic-Con was this past weekend, which was a great time for all. These are 2 major events that are put on by Hands of the City Lincoln Park, which is a volunteer group. We're always looking for help. I do want to make an announcement for people that don't know. We said goodbye to Pastor Gary Shipling, a pillar of our community. Gary passed away about 2 weeks ago, and it was really felt deeply downriver. And services were held at Blessed Hope, and he will be greatly missed. And that's it for me. Good night.
I really don't have much. I enjoyed the parade. It's beautiful out. The couple of hot days could stay away. This last couple of days have been wonderful. Enjoy your summers. Stay safe. Enjoy the events in Lincoln Park. That's about all I have. Thank you.
Lillian?
Thank you, Your Honor. Just a couple things. The first one is the Lincoln Park Historical Society and Museum newsletter is out. If you haven't gotten yours, you can go to their website at lphistorical.org and look that up. I know that Mayor mentioned earlier that the museum is having a yard sale for Friday, Saturday, and that'll be from 10 a.m. to 4 on both days. So if you can, stop by. And you could order your T-shirt at that time. I just wanted you to see the emblem again on the T-shirt. I was kind of hoping to have mine already to show you. But the T-shirts are $20, $30 for sweatshirts, and if $5 for 2X and 3X more, and $10 for 4X more. But those orders are available at the museum. And I think that's it. Thank you.
All right. Jason?
Thank you. This being June, I'd just like to recognize June as Pride Month, and I would like to wish a happy Pride Month to all those community members that belong to the LGBTQIA+ community. As an ally, I certainly wish everyone a happy and safe celebration of their true self this month and every month. And on a side note, Motor City Pride is this weekend down at Hart Plaza. I also attended the Lincoln Park Library Board meeting as its liaison. The Friends of the Library had their report from the book sale that they did on our cleanup day back in April. They were very happy with how the book sale went. They far exceeded the amount from the previous book sale that they did. And for those who don't know, the Friends of the Library, they do work hand in hand with the library. They are a separate entity, and they promote, publicize services and events for the library, and they help it raise funds, and they are a very integral part of keeping a wonderful institution like our library going as well as it is. They are very much looking forward to the summer programs that they have ready to roll out with school ending this week. Lincoln Park High did graduate last Wednesday. I would say congratulations to the class of 2023. I'm sure they're going to go on to do many great things. And that is all that I have for today. So, thank you.
Eric?
Thank you. First, I'd like to offer my condolences to the Whirling family and to the Lafayette family for their losses. And for Mr. Kudrak, who isn't here now, DECA is Distributive Education Clubs of America, for clarification. I was able to attend the high school graduation ceremony and was able to partake in it this year. And I witnessed something from the school officers that you don't see every day. There was a senior veteran that was in distress. And Officer Stafford ran over, got a chair for him, sat him down, and then monitored him till he was stable. That was very impressive. He deserves something for that. And then our other officer having to deal with the handicap parking at the high school for that evening. And to have over 300 parents and families at the high school that evening, and everybody, no problems. It was very well attended, very well mannered, very nice ceremony. But one thing I want to say tonight is that there were some things that needed to be recognized for our school system. We had back-to-back district champions, the Lincoln Park High School boys varsity basketball, represented by Coach Bryan, star and senior captain Lucci Carpenter. The girls varsity bowling state qualifier Megan Fisk, varsity wrestling state qualifier Kevin Palazzolo, junior ROTC armed inspection platoon, which finished in second place in the multi-state 7th Brigade Regional Competition in Fort Knox, Kentucky, represented by officers Cadet Colonel Brenda Morris, Cadet Lieutenant Colonel Josh Rude, Cadet Captain Brooke Schaefer, and Cadet Captain Ariel Foote. DECA Sports Entertainment Marketing State Champion Cesar Garcia, recently elected Vice President of Public Relations for Michigan DECA Emily Jacobs, the robotics champions at the first in Michigan District Wayne State University event drive team, members Liliana Flores, Cody Summers, Mika Bear, Ethan King, and Coach Jason Rich. Since the May 2nd board meeting, we've also had a number of spring athletes that had significant achievements, and they are listed below. Donovan Effinger won the Downriver League title in the 800-meter run. Aiden Hinton broke the school record in the 200-meter and won the Downriver League as well. The boys 4x400-meter relay team, 4x200-meter relay team 4x800 meter relay team, and the girls' 4x200 meter relay team all won second place in the Downriver League as well. Girls varsity softball was named Academic All-State from the Michigan High School Softball Coaches Association. The girls varsity softball head coach, Debbie Howe, won her 300th career game as a softball head coach. In addition, Lincoln Park High School graduated 306 seniors at graduation on May 31st. These seniors qualified for over $3.5 million in scholarships and grants to go towards their continued education. Of those graduates, 19% will graduate summa cum laude with a 3.75 GPA or higher, 8% magna cum laude with another GPA between 3.5 and 3.74. Another 17% graduate cum laude with a CPA between 3.0 and 3.49. Another 58 students will graduate with the highly coveted seal of biliteracy on their high school diploma, meaning that they are proficient in at least 2 different languages. We have a great school system.
Our school system is doing really well. I'd like to remind everybody that the Education 5K Run will be at Council Point Park this Saturday, and it begins at 8 a.m. I'd like to remind everybody that it is a 5K run, you don't have to run. You can walk, right? Or you can just donate. They're happy any way you want to do it. But all this money goes to the education, directly to the kids. So it is a good program, and I know at least one council person who has participated in the last few years and done well. And with that, I'm going to call it for the meeting.
So move.
Support.
Councilperson Salcido?
Yes.
Tobin?
Yes.
Bear?
Yes.
Dupre?
Yes.
Ross?
Yes.
Soar?
Yes.
And Mayor Higgins?
Yes.